So best practices, industry guidelines, focus on building relationships, not on direct promotion, as I said earlier. Engage when the topic is relevant and the information you have may be useful to another user of that service. Make sure you're aware of all the terms and conditions on the websites that you're involved with to make sure that you're complying. And remember that your personal communications reflect on your brand as a whole. This is a new area as well. When it comes to your employees, to your marketing teams, to your public relations teams, all of these individuals are putting your brand out there. And so, for the most part, there needs to be somewhat of a strategy to help understand how these groups or these individuals are working together for the common good of the organization. So let's talk about your investment now in social media. As I mentioned earlier, it is a low-cost or a no-cost medium or channel to enter into. However, it does take a lot of time. So with that, there's the research time, there's the interaction time, and although the staff working in social media doesn't necessarily have to be technical, it does help to have technologically savvy individuals in order to really capitalize on the opportunities that will present themselves and the ability to leverage technology to find these new outlets and to engage in these new outlets. The organization has to commit itself to a more flexible structure. Again, you can't have everything approved. You have to have trusted individuals running these conversations for you. And the traditional way of scripting, editing, approvals, routing things around, it's just not going to work in the social media space. Although you can and should have a strategy up front, which are guidelines. It's also a more informal communication style. And then finally, understanding that social media can absolutely be a lead generation and a client retention tool. And it's something, again, when it comes to that strategy, you figure out how are we going to use social media for marketing, how are we going to use it for public relations, and then how are we going to use it for customer support. And as Frank said earlier, there is a flattening between those three sides to a business. And it's important that each knows what the other is doing, because at the end of the day, if you're using social media to support your clients, it is public relations as well, and it's probably marketing. When you're talking to that one individual and you're solving their problem, it's customer support, but everyone else who's watching is looking at it potentially from a different perspective, so that always has to be kept in mind. First steps. Before you're entering into social media, the most important thing is to listen to the conversations that are happening around you. So there are tons and tons of tools. There are free tools. There are very expensive tools. I just wanted to share a few up here for those of you who might be embarking on this for the first time, just to start to get a feel for what's out there. So Google Alerts is a great service. It's an email service that can alert you to postings that have to do with particular topics through blogs, through the news. Tracker helps you monitor things like your employees, CEO's name, clients' names, really to look at things at a more specific level. And I'll make this available for you guys afterwards as well, if you don't have paper and pen with you. Blog Pulse, online system that reveals whether specific keywords and phrases are gaining attention. So if you are looking for momentum under a particular topic, this is a great tool to monitor that. So when the iPhone was first released, this tool was one of those that would show you the penetration of media that was talking about the iPhone at the time. It was pretty amazing, because I think it was actually about 100%. And finally, Geotag, which is a monitoring system that tracks search engines' news feeds for tags. So it's almost a search engine of search engines, where you can put these keyword phrases in there, niche communities that you're looking for, and it has a tool that literally lets you thumb through just about every engine you can imagine and see what's coming up in those rankings. So what does the future hold? The channel of social media is really a new way of doing business in an increasingly digital life. So it's absolutely gaining momentum, and it's going to continue. People aren't just listening, they're engaging. And the current economic conditions are really obviously driving marketers to do more with less, so there's a heightened interest in social media. As I mentioned earlier, too, this is social media kind of wraps around everything. If we look at the most effective channels right now in marketing and in online marketing, on the lead generation side, search engine marketing is one of the strongest. Client support, client retention, client growth, email marketing has made a very big comeback, and it's rock solid for those types types of communications. Social media layers on top of all of that because it can help you with your PR, your marketing, and your customer support. So it's an integral channel that you don't necessarily just parse it off and say, okay, we're going to do this, and social media. Social media really kind of interweaves itself between everything else that you're doing. And what does this mean for you? Social media complements every other marketing tactic. Marketing, PR, and client support are blurring. And if you're just entering the conversation now, you're already late. This is not a tactic. We started working on mobile marketing about a year ago. It's nothing like mobile marketing where you say this is going to be big, but it's a year out. Social marketing is big now, and it's important that as an organization, as marketers, as client support, as public relations individuals, you really start to understand the power and the opportunity within this. And there is a small window of opportunity to really, as Frank was saying earlier, make a large impact in a short period of time. So listen to the conversation, develop a strategy on how to engage, and then invest the time to really monitor and react. And I believe you'll find it to be very fruitful.